Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to all my beautiful YouTubers. Today we are going to crochet the different parts to go to this moose hat. Now I have decided what I am going to call her is the Brewinkle moose hat. Brewinkle the Happy Moose hat. Instead of calling it Bullwinkle, we will be calling her Brewinkle the Happy Moose. I did in part one of the tutorial the hat pattern. I said not to finish it, but to get it to a certain depth from your starting circle. And the last 3 rows are basically going to be 1 row of half double crochets in the back loops only, 1 row of single crochets in both loops, and then you're going to finish off the hat with another round of half double crochets in the back loops only. The reason we are doing this is because for the snout, and I'm just going to move this, which I have not stuffed yet for purposes. Okay, there will be an opening when you're finished with it, and this is how you're going to sew it onto the hat. You need that opening so that you can get it sewn onto the hat properly, whereas it's sitting flat. And basically once it's stuffed, it's going to have that little bit of a hump up here. And I will show you how to stuff it. My stitch marker is telling me that that is my center. That is where my hump is. That will get folded like that kind of thing. And then this part here will be the part that gets sewn on to the hat. Then you have eyes. Now I used my safety eyes for the for this project. You do not need to use them. They are not necessary. I just like using them. You will be making 2 of these. 1 snout. You will be making 2 antlers, and in order to make the antlers, you will need to crochet 4 pieces of the exact same thing. This will be the other part of the ear, and as you can see, there is a bit of a groove up here so that when you're attaching it, you're able to fold that in, and it will look like that on the hat. And then I have cut a few strands because we're going to give little Brewinkle a little bit of hair at the top, some tufts at the top. You will need both a 4.5 hope you can see that. And you will need a 5mm hook. You will need a small amount of polyfill or fiberfill. I'm using fiberfill because that's what I had, but it could be polyfill, or you can even take a bunch of yarn, leftover yarn, and we all have it, and just squinch up a bunch and stuff the part with it instead. Totally up to you. Again, you're going to need some stitch markers. I have 2 needles out here right now. One I used for sewing in my parts. And whoops, it helps if I put it up here. There we go. There we go. And you will see the eye on that. And what I do is I will thread my yarn through the eye using this incredible little gadget. Pull the yarn through, so this way I'm not sitting there fighting with that. I have chosen to give Miss Brewinkle green eyes So I will be adding these to the pupil area. I chose brown for the nostrils on this yarn for the snout. And of course you will need a pair of scissors, trusty scissors. So without further ado, you're going to need, I used Feel Like Butter. These are all 4-weight yarns, everybody. I cannot stress the importance of this enough. It must be 4-weight yarns that you are using to make this hat. I did not do this holding 2 strands of yarn together, which is normally how I would do it, because it just makes it for a sturdier composition of a hat and sturdier to sew on the parts. But I did not do that with the hat. This time, guys, I just used 1 strand. But this is what I had left over. All right, so you're gonna need some white. You're gonna need a little bit of black. I'm using a Caron Latte Cake for the snout. This is a multi-5 and it says use a 6.5 millimeter hook. I will not be doing that. I will be using a 4.5. So, whoops. And the idea is not to drop stuff as you're going along. So hold on, guys, and let me come right back. Okay, so to reiterate, to make the hat, we had started off with a magic circle. Our magic circle is up here, and this is where we had started. We had worked 11 increase rows. This is why you see my marker, and it's actually on the 12th row of the hat, because in the 12th row we needed to add an additional 4 more to give us a circumference for the hat of 82 total stitches to work in. The hat measures in width. I guess I have to do it this way in order to show you. You will see that it is 11 inches wide, and from top to bottom it is 20 inches tall. Now you could continue to crochet this around to a longer depth by using a bunch of single crochets, just repeating it before you finish off. And this particular hat measures like that. At the bottom, I used a row of half double crochets in the back loops only, single crochets, 1 row in both loops, and then again I finished off the hat with half double crochets in the back loops only. I did the entire hat using single crochet. I did the entire hat using a 5 millimeter hook. And that is what your hat should look like when you are finished crocheting it. So now let's put it aside and make the parts that are going to go on it. All right, let's get this little ball started. All right, so I've got my trusty notes here. That's all on the hat and how you increased it. What we're going to do is we're going to work on the antlers. I'm just going to put that on the side. And I am using for the antlers, I'm using my 5 millimeter hook. And I am using the color yellow, Feels Like Butter. So I wrapped this around because I had started it. Whoops, where are we? Here you are. I got Finder. I really should have done this before. I'll just tuck that in so it's not in my way. All right, you will need a stitch marker. Well, no, not really. You don't really need a stitch marker to do this part. All right, so let's get this going. You are going to make a total of 4 of these, guys, because what you're going to do is you're going to sew them together, 2 pieces and then 2 pieces, because you need to stuff them. All right, so now that I have unraveled some of that, let's get this going. To make the antlers, you are going to do a slip knot. Now, you know, like I start my slip knots and I start my magic circles the exact same way. It's hilarious. I take one finger, this finger here, and I wrap the yarn around. Then what I do is I take one over here and I bring it over and then I grab. That's how I make my slip knot. In this case, I would pull it tight. This is how I also make my magic circles. All I do is I don't pull it tight and I slip. All right, so now that we got that straightened out, let's make a slip knot. And you're going to begin with a chain of 17. So you will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. You'll be using your 5mm hook. Now what you are going to do is in the second chain from the hook, not the one on your hook, that does not count for anything, not the one in front of it, but the second one from the hook, you are going to single crochet into that. Then you are going to single crochet into each stitch, going all the way down, and this will give you a total of 16 stitches at the end. Now remember, you're going to be making 4 of these in total because we will be stuffing them and sewing them together, and I will show you what I mean when we finish doing this. So you will have a total of 16 single crochets when you are finished this row. All right, we're coming up to the last one. Don't forget to crochet into that last stitch and make sure you have 16 single crochets. And that is basically what it's going to look like. Well, somewhat. All right, so now you're going to crochet one. I'm sorry, you're going to like chain one and turn your work around. You're going to do this 2 more times, I believe I wrote. Yes. So you will have a total of 3 rows of single crochets. You will go directly into the very first chain. That very first one, guys. You must go into it in order to keep your stitch count. So you will do this 2 more times and you will have 3 rows of 16. Okay? So go ahead and complete your 3 rows. You chain 1 at the end, turn it around, single crochet into the very first one, and then all the way down to the end, and then I will meet you back after you've done 3 rows of single crochets. Once you have done your 3 rows of single crochets, this is what your work should look like. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work around. Now what you're going to do is you are going to single crochet into the very first stitch. That's 1. And then you will single crochet into the next 3. So a total of 4 single crochets. You are going to chain 1 and turn your work around. Again, you're going to single crochet into that very first stitch and the other 3 as well. 3, and that's 4. Chain 1, turn your work around. You're going to do this 3 more times. So you will have a total of 5. 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, turn 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's 4 times. One more time, guys. Chain 1 and turn. You will now have, once you finish doing these last 4, a total of 5 rows of single crochets. Now what you're going to do in order to get back down to your main row is you're going to single crochet down the side. The first one, I placed a total of, I skipped over 1, I did 2, 3, and then 4. My 4th one was into the base of, and that is what your first antler will look like, or the first part of your antler will look like once you've done the 4 stitches going down. Now you're going to do 4 single crochets again, including the one that's already here. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. You're going to chain 1, you're going to turn your work around, and instead of going into 4, you're only going to go into 3. So you're going to go, whoops, sorry, you're going to go into both loops and single crochet 3 times into the next, into those chains. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn your work around, do that again. Once again, you are going to do this a total of 5 times. But you're only going to use 3 of those chains, not all 4. That's 3. Coming back around. This is round 4. Chain 1, turn, and 1, 2, and 3. Now once again, you're going to go down the sides of that one, and this you are only going to go down a total of, and you just go into those stitches along the side that you've created. This one here will be a total of 3 coming down. You just place 2 coming down the side and then go directly back into the hole there, the first chain that meets with the base of your single crochets. That will be antler number 2, or the second part. Now once again, you're going to do the exact same thing that you did to make this one. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I messed it up. Oh my gosh, guys, I totally messed that up. All right, let's try that one over again. I'm sorry, you're not going, once you've done, I apologize. I'm going too fast. All right, so once you've come back and you've done the sides down and you've actually gone into there. You will not be counting that as your first one. You will then go into the next 4. I apologize. Please forgive me. 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1, turn your work, go into 3 chains only. 1, 2, 3. You will do this a total of 5 times. Chain 1, turn, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and turn, 1, 2, and 3. Get in there. Chain 1 and turn. Again, 1, 2, and 3. You do not chain coming down the sides. You go directly into the stitches that are along the side that are created when you chained your 1. So in this case, you're going to come down 3. So 1, I'm skipping the first one. I'm going into the second hole, 1, 2, and I am ending at the base where we started off from, and that is antler number 2, or part 2. Now you will do it again. You're going to do the exact same thing. In the next 4, you're going to make a single crochet. You're going to chain 1, and you're going to go into 3 again only. So you can choose that one if you want, or the second one. It totally is up to you. I'm going to start with the first one. So 1, 2, and 3. So this way it gives us a nice little valley here. Chain 1, turn, go again, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn, and you're going to repeat this for a total of 5 times. So this is 3, chain 1, turn, this is 4, chain 1, turn, the last one, 1, 2, and 3. Once again, you're going to, what did I do? Oh, I'm totally messing this up, aren't I, guys? Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. I gotta be over here. 4. Oh my Lord. Forgive me, people. It's late and I'm tired. I apologize. Here we go. 4 times, and we're going to go down again 3 times down the side, ending in the row. So I'm going to go 1, 2, totally skip over that last one. Now I'm going to go into it, sorry. I'm going to go down into that one as well, to 3. And now I'm going to go into that corner again, right there. And single crochet into that. Then what you're going to do is you are going to place 1 single crochet in each of the remaining 4 stitches. and 4. And this is what your antler will look like. So you're going to repeat doing that a total of 4 times until you have 4 pieces that look like this. So that's a 1. You are going to fasten off, pull that through, and you're going to cut off a piece long enough because you're going to have to sew those parts together, and then you're going to need some to sew onto the hat. So once you have finished doing that, you're going to pull that through. I did it probably way too long here, but that's okay, because it will give us more than enough room to do what we need to do. All right, so that's 1. This I wouldn't worry about, because when you are sewing it together, you're going to be able to tuck it in while you're sewing it together, and the stuffing will keep that into place. So let's make one more, guys. Let's do that one more time so I'm not messing you up. All right. Again, you're going to make a slip knot. You're going to chain 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Again, you're going to go into the second chain from the hook, not the one that's on it, the second one, and you're going to single crochet. You're going to do this all the way to the end. You will have 16 stitches in all. Again, I will meet back up with you once you've done your 16. Chain 1, turn, repeat it 2 more times till you have 3 rows of 16, and then I will meet you back up again. All right, so I have done my 3 rows of single crochets. We're going to go over making this piece one more time. You chain 1 and you turn. You're going to go into the first 4 stitches. Single crochet in 1, single crochet 2, single crochet 3, and single crochet 4. You're going to chain 1 and turn. You're going to go into those exact same stitches again. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Two more times, guys, because you need a total of 5 rows. So chain 1, turn your work one more time going this way. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1 and turn your last row. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what you're going to do is you're going to crochet down the sides. What I did on the first one is I skipped over that very first one. I went into the second one. I did a single crochet, the third, 2, 3, and then that little corner where that last one was coming out of, you place a single crochet into there. Antler number part 1. Now you're going to single crochet into the next 4. the one that you just did does not count. So now you're going into the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now just let me explain the reason why you do not count that last one that you stuck in the bottom here is because that is giving your antler that it's giving it that effect is what it's going to do. All right, so that's what we're aiming for. So now that you've done your 4 single crochets again and you've chained 1, you've turned your work, you're going to crochet only into 3 of those 4 chains. So I skip, it doesn't really matter. You go into 1, 2, and 3. I did not do the last 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn your work. Again, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn your work. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn your work. Now you're going back towards the other side. 1, 2, and 3. Get in there. Thank you. I need some yarn. All right, now we're going to go down the side again. What did I just do here? Oh my, what is going on there? Oh, there. All right. Now we're gonna come down the side. We're gonna go through 3. I skip the top one. I go 1, 2, and then I use the base chain here as my 3rd one. Do not chain, single crochet into each of the next 4 and repeat the exact same thing that you just did. So single crochet 4, chain 1, turn, single crochet only into 3 of those chains, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, turn, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, last time, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to come down your sides. I skipped that first one, like I said. That's 1, 2, coming down the side, and then into your base. That's 3. Now you're going to single crochet into the remaining 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now only on 2 of these you're then going to chain 1, bring it around so you can fasten off, cut your yarn, and cinch down that thing. This one actually you can make shorter. And then what you're going to do because you're going to make 2 of them with the longer piece for sewing, and then 2 of them without it. What you will do is you will match up both of them. And you're going to start, you're going to tuck that in on the side, and you're going to thread your needle, and we're going to start over here, and we're going to be leaving this side open because these 4 chains here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is what is going to get sewn on to the hat on. So we're going to have a total of 8 stitches really for the opening, because that's the way it's going to fit onto the hat. We're going to secure it that way so that this is not so flimsy. So now what you're going to do is the part, the piece that has the longest piece. Let me get rid of this now because you are now finished with your yellow. Once you have done 4 of these, 2 of which are going to have a long chain for sewing. Now I'll show you this nifty little gadget. I use the smaller side. I put it through the eye of the needle because I have a really hard time seeing things, because I'm just blinder than a bat, even wearing glasses. And then I take it and I pull it through the eye of the needle. And voila, I now have a threaded needle. So now what you're going to do with your antlers, since you're over here, what you're going to do is you're going to tuck in that tail behind it, and you're going to grab from the back of that chain and go through that first chain and sew it together. Pull that yarn through. You're going to go into that one more time to secure that stitch and pull your yarn through. Now what you are going to do is you are going to do your absolute best, which shouldn't be too difficult. And what you're going to do is you're just going to whip stitch. You're going to go in through one side and out the other, pull up and go through and sew the top part of that. You're going to go into the next one. Make sure you pull that pretty decently tight. You're going to go in through both and you're going to sew that through. You're going to continue to do that as best you can, matching up your stitches. Oops, without dropping your needle. And 3. Then you're going to go up your sides, and like I said, do your best to match up your stitches. They should match up pretty evenly, guys. As you can see, I am not having a hard time finding the stitches to both pieces. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because this is a silly hat, right? So there we go. That's 3. I'll go through that one. Then the next one. And then you're going to come down the side, down into the last one. And then you're going to come down your sides. That really doesn't make a difference. I'm going from back to front because this way I can see where my needle is coming out of. So you're just going to continue to sew the top parts of this. You're going to get in as many stitches as you can coming down the sides, because the whole idea is you want that to stay together and create sort of that peak in the antler. You're going to go through the next ones, trying to get it through the tops of the stitches instead of through the actual single crochets. Ouch. And I keep smacking my hand against the wall. And I'm into that one there. And then you're just going to continue to do that. And what I'll do is I am going to continue to sew this up as we're going. And as you do it, matching up again, going from back to front, and I'm just pulling it through, guys, just like that, like a normal stitch, because nobody's going to see these anyways. So I will meet you back up when we get to the bottom here. And I will show you what to do once we have finished stitching all the way across to that third part of the antler and down the side where you only have the bottom part open. All right, so I will meet you all back there. All right, so I have made it up this from that very last crochet, all up that one, all up that one, all up that one, and now I am back to the bottom of the two pieces that we have joined together. I'm in the last stitch. I'm going to go through it one more time to secure that last stitch. And now you're going to tuck in your ends into the inside of it. I cut this part here, I tied it a little bit, and then on the other side I just kind of tucked it into the bottom because nobody is going to see that. That will be secure once you have stuffed it, I'm sorry, and sewn it together. So now you're going to take small amounts, very small amounts. Do not overstuff this because it will show through, unfortunately, and you don't want it to show through too terribly much. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and just kind of fluff it down inside. Kind of tuck some of it into the first one. Kind of tuck some of it into that second one. Using your fingers, stick it in, grab a little bit more, and as you can see, you do not need a lot. So I'm just going to take this one and get some of that stuff down into my third part. And there you go. Now what you're going to do is holding your two ends together, and then you can play with it after, guys, and rearrange the fiber fill inside. You are going to continue to sew up the bottom part of the antlers. So now that you've got your fiber fill or polyfill or even yarn, you can use the exact same color yarn. You're going to go along the bottom of it, and you are going to whip it together. Now your chains really should match up. There should be a total of 16 here. So that should give you about 16 going down along the bottom. And you're just going to continue along stuffing the polyfill in there so it's not sticking out. Just keep playing with it and playing with it and playing with it. This is the fun of amigurumi, guys. The fun of amigurumi. So I'm just going to shove that down a little bit more and continue to sew. I'm just going to continue to do this until I get all the way to the other end. We will do this together. if my hands would stop shaking, we would be doing really good. And I hope that you can see what it is that I am doing, because I am not paying attention to what I am recording, and I'm praying that you are seeing what my hands are doing properly. I am still relatively new at doing this from overhead, so please be patient with me, guys, and bear with me as I do more and more tutorials and things like this. I promise you that this will get better. So you're just going to continue going along the bottom, trying to keep the fiber fill inside the hat or the part, and you're going to keep going through all the stitches until you get to the very end. We only have a few more left to go here, so let's get those stitched up. One. And it doesn't matter if you've done if you do 2 stitches in a chain or not, guys. Like, you know, just secure it the best way that you possibly can, going in and out, weaving your needle through till you get to the very end. And we have one more here. I will go into that last one again twice. I always go into my corner ones twice to make sure that it's nice and secure. You will leave this part open because this will get attached to the hat, and you need to have it so that it's open, because you are not going to be sewing it together onto the hat. You are going to be applying it where you go through some of those stitches on one side on the hat, down the other side of the hat. Now what you can do is you can remove your needle and you can play with the polyfill in there and arrange it so that it's not sticking out in places and it's all kind of even. Just keep playing with it, have some fun with it, and voila. And now you have 2 antlers that you can use. Now it really won't make a difference. As you can see, you now have 2 antlers. All right, so that concludes the antler part. So like I said, you will crochet up 4 of these in total, 2 of which you will leave a long tail, long enough for sewing, because you will need to go up there and then along the bottom. And then you will need some, this one is too short, I'm gonna have to play with that one. But this one is not. And I will be able to sew that onto the hat evenly. So voila, there are your 2 antlers. Now let's move on to the next part. In episode 3 of this hat, we will sew it together. Today we are just going to work on all of your parts that you will attach. So I'm going to remove my needle. I'm going to remove my 2 antlers because they are now done, and the fiber fill. And we will move on to the next part. The next part is going to be the smaller part. Where'd it go? Where are you? Where are you? Where'd you go, little piece? There you are. And you will seriously only need a very small amount of yarn for this, using your main color. Using your main color, and you're going to use a size F, again, 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. All right, so this is the other part of the ear. As you can see, there is a bit of a dip in there. We are going to go ahead and create the second one. So again, using your 4.5 millimeter hook and a small amount, very small, I'm not joking. And you will need a stitch marker for this one, guys, because you need to mark off your first stitch. You'll start with a slip knot. Nope, sorry, we're going to make a magic circle. I started like I would do my slip knots. Once again, I will show you how I do mine. I take this and I wrap it around my finger one time. Because I want to show you, I'm not going to be able to do this. All right. So I've kind of crisscrossed it along the side. Then I take this piece here and I bring it back over that other one. I grab from underneath and I pull up. I let go of that. I grab my working yarn and I secure that, and voila, you have a magic circle. What you are going to do is you are going to single crochet 8 single crochets into that circle. Mark off your first one. I highly recommend it because it's going to be easier to get into. You're going to do a total of 8 single crochets into that circle. So that's 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. So now you will have 8 single crochets in that circle. You are going to pull on that little piece here ever so gently, not cinching it totally, because you want to be able to get into your first stitch. All right, so you're going to cinch that closed just a little bit, and before you continue, because you can always pull on that after, remove your stitch marker from your first one, and you're going to go directly into it. And that's always fun, the first one. That's why I say do not cinch it tight, because sometimes it's hard to get into that first one. And you're going to automatically pull up your loop, bring it through, and single crochet. You are going to replace the stitch marker back into that first one. And you're going to go into each chain around. So we already did 1. This will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is what that should look like when you are finished doing that. Now again, what you're going to do is you're going to cinch your circle shut now, so that this way you do not have a hole in your bottom. As you can see, you're going to remove your stitch marker, and you're going to right away go into that first stitch again and single crochet. You're going to keep doing this. Now you can continue to replace it, so this way you can keep track. But once you've got a couple of rows going, you're going to probably want to remove that. So that's going to be 1. This is now the 3rd time we're going around, guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're going to want to play with that a bit because it's going to curl on you. 7 and 8. Now what I have done is, again, I have tightened up my center, and I now remove my stitch marker because I know I have 8 chains here. So what you are going to do is you're going to continue to place 1 single crochet in each chain around those 8, and just keep going around and around and around, placing a single crochet, making sure that you always count 8. Now what I have done, since I have now cinched this up really nice and tight, I take this because this is the inside of where the magic circle is, and I stick my finger into the center of it so that this way I can see my stitches. You're going to do this a total of 12 times, and then you will slip stitch into the top. So that was your first, your second, your third. You're going to do this for a total of 9 more times, placing 1 single crochet into each stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, and it almost becomes like it's a thimble on your hand. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and if you want, you can take part of that tail from your center and use it here to crochet over just to secure it again a little bit more. That's 8. You're going to continue doing that 12 more times. I'm going to continue to do this, and I will meet you back when I have done 12. And now what I have done is, since I have brought up the center, since it's cinched, I am just going to continue to do this, holding that down so that it cinches it even more. So this is going to be the it really gets to be a little complicated, this piece, but that's okay. That's 4. You're going to do this a total of 12 rows, guys, and then I will meet you back up. Now that I know that's nice and secure, I can forget that, and that will just get shoved back into the middle. And you're just going to keep going around and around and around until you have done 12 rows of 8. I will meet you back when we have done those 12 rows. Okay, I have done my 12 rows. This is what you will have. It will look like a tube. What I did in order to assist getting through is I kept my finger down the center. And as I went around, I made sure I was counting 8. And it kept my stitches and that hole open. Now that you have done your 12 rounds, you're going to chain up 1, pull that through, and cut off just a small amount at the end. And as you can see, now I had 2 balls that I had frogged, and I still have this left and that other ball from 175 yards, I believe it was, right on the yarn. 185 yards, and I played around and I did another a different snout using the same yarn. So you will only need 185 yards in this color, unless of course you are holding 2 strands together and then you will need both balls. All right, just saying. So, what the? Did something fall down on me? Something fell down. All right, so now, once again, you pull your last chain through. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create that little dip in the top. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it, your piece, and you're going to hold it down like this, and you're going to fold it over like that. All right, you are going to have a total of 8 here, so you're going to fold that in half, so you will have 2 on each side, and you're going to hold it together like that so that you create that little I don't know what you want to call that, like a little canyon or that little dip in it, so that when it's sitting on the ear, on the head, it hangs like that. It looks like an ear. So now you're going to take, I hope this is making sense to you guys, really, really, really. Once again, you're going to take that. I'm going to pull my yarn through my needle. I'm going to fold this piece in half at the top. There will be no stuffing it. I'm going to fold it in half and hold it like that, so it creates that little canyon kind of thing. And I'm going to go through the back, all the stitches, and come out through the front and pull that tight. Then I'm going to go into the next one. That's 2. Then I'm going to go into there to come around, so I can go around one more time to make sure it's nice and secure. Going into that last one. Come on, get in there for me, please. Thanking you. And then what you are going to do is you are going to loop that last stitch, pull it through, do that one last time coming out the other end. I'm just going to make this part a little bit shorter. You're going to do that one more time. Go through there. Place your needle through the center. Pull up real tight. Make sure it's nice and secure. And then remove the yarn from your needle. You now have two ears that will go below the antlers with that dip in it. That concludes the antler part. You can now take these and put it aside. Make sure that you have enough yarn at the end after you've sewn in through the 2 stitches at the top to be able to sew that on to your hat, because that will go on the same way as the antlers. So that now concludes your antlers, everybody. The 2 parts of the ears. So we will get rid of the main color. We will get rid of the yellow, and I will get rid of these notes, and we will go on to, I'm going to save the snout for last because that's the one that's the most work. We are going to start now on your eyes. The eyes are really simple, 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 easy to make. Again, you're going to make 4 of these. I am going to use my, did I use my 4? Or my 5? I forget. I believe I used my 5mm crochet hook to make my eyes. I already pulled out one of the eyeballs from the thing. This is what they look like. These are the caps that come with them. That secures them. I don't know if you can see that in my camera. Here, I guess maybe there. And this is the eye that I will be putting in the pupil. We're going to start off with the pupil section, which requires your black yarn. Again, you are only going to need a very small amount. So unravel yourself some black and let's start on the pupil. Again, you are going to start with a magic circle. And all you're going to do is you're going to single crochet 8. So that's 1. And I always like to mark off my first one, so this way I know that I've, got there. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. That's 6. That is 7, and that is 8. So I have done 8 single crochets. I am going to pull that just until I can get over to here. What you are going to do is you're going to slip into, you're not going to crochet into it, you're going to remove your stitch marker. And you're going to slip stitch into that very first chain. And then you are going to cinch that nice and tight so that it closes it up. Not that anybody is going to see it. You'll yarn over, go through, pull up a loop, and bring up a small amount of yarn because you will need to sew that on. And cinch that down. This piece here that we started with, I'm just going to cinch it a little bit more because I see a little bit of a hole. And then what I did was I take the safety eye and I poke it through the middle of that circle right there. It's coming out on the other end. Then I take the safety eye part, and because it's so small, I'm telling you, when you're working with these things sometimes, and I am going to snap it on so that is nice and secure. You're going to hear it snap. And then I take that, whoops, don't drop it. I take that little excess piece and I kind of wrap it around a few times so this way it stays there, because this is going to get attached. You're not going to use that, but you will be using the other part. It just kind of softens the back part of where you snapped in that piece. And then once you put it on your eye, you're not going to feel that piece in the hat. It's just because it's going to be cushioned. So that is your pupil. That's all you need to do for your pupil. Tie it back in there a little bit. And then you're going to put that on the side. Then you're going to take your white. I told you you needed a very small amount of black. Now you're going to take your white yarn. Where are you? All right, so I'm just going to pull out some yarn here. I really hate when that, okay, you know what, I had this all worked out where it wasn't going to do this to me when I was trying to show this. It never fails. Alrighty. So you are going to make, again, 4 of these guys. And you see this? Do you see what I'm pulling out of here? This is ridiculous. I don't know why it's doing that, but there we go. We'll, just get that going a little bit. I'm going to pull out a bunch because I really detest when it does that. Why are you doing that? All right, let's hope that we can do this a little bit better. I've already got one eye made, so I just have to make 1 or 2 of these pieces. All right, find your end. Where'd my end go? There we go. All right, white. It's white on white right now, guys. I apologize, but here we go. To make the eyes, you're going to make 4 of these. Again, you're only going to make 2 parts. 2 of these, I'm sorry, with a long enough tail to sew in. Very, very, very simple. You're going to make your slip knot. And you're going to do a chain of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is what you will have. Into the second chain from the hook, you will place 1 single crochet. Into the next, you're going to yarn over, go into the next one, drop a loop, come through, and you are going to go through all 3. And that is a half double crochet. And then you are going to yarn over. You're going to go into the next chain, pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over. You're going to go through 2. You're going to go through 2. That is a double crochet. Now you're going to do a treble, which is yarn over 2 times, go into the next chain, draw up a loop. You will have 4 chains on your loop. You're going to go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, 2, hello, 2, thank you, and yarn over and go through 2. Now you're going to go down the other side. You're going to repeat. You're going to do a double crochet, yarn over, go into the hole or the chain, bring up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. Next one is yarn over, go into your next chain, drop a loop, go through all 3, and into the last one you will place a single crochet. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn. Now what this is doing is it is giving you a base on the bottom, and it will give you height along here, and it's going to come up around. So it's not going to be a square eye. It's not going to be a totally round eye. It's going to be a little squared on the bottom. So this way, when you're placing it around the snout, you're going to be able to maneuver those few stitches along the bottom. So once again, we're going to do this. You're going to chain up 1, turn your work around. You're going to place 1 single crochet in the very first, 1 half double crochet in the very next, 1 double crochet in the very next, 1 treble crochet, which is yarn over 2 times, place it into your chain, draw up a loop. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. You're going to repeat the exact same thing down the other side, starting with a double crochet. Then you're going to do your half double crochet. And don't forget, you've got one chain there, guys. Do not lose it or miss it. You will go into that chain, the 2 loops, and you will make a single crochet. All right. I have done this for my eyes a total of 4 times. So that was 2. So we are going to chain 1, turn our work around. Where am I? Right, already done that. Did I? No, I didn't. Sorry. Chain 1, turn your work. 2 more times, guys. You're going to single, half double, double, treble, double, half double, and single. Chain 1, turn your work. You're going to do that one more time. Single crochet into your first chain, half double into the second, and double into the third, treble into the fourth, double into the fifth, half double into the sixth, and single crochet into the seventh. That is what you are going to do, and then you are going to fasten off. On one piece, you're going to leave it long enough to sew and be able to sew onto the hat. You're going to make 2 pieces like that. That's what it should look like. This is where you started at the bottom. And this is the rest of your eye. So you're going to make 2 of these. So we will do that one more time. You are going to chain a total of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You're going to single crochet into the first one, half double into the second, double crochet into the third, treble into the fourth, 1, double into the next, half double into the next, and a single crochet in the last one. Come to mama. There you go. You're going to chain 1 and turn. You're going to do this another 3 times, I believe. We did this a total of 4. Let me make sure. Yes. We did this a total of 4 times, so that was 1. You're going to continue to do that. You're going to start off with your single, half double, double, treble, half double, single. So this is the second time. 3, and I will meet you back up. Chain 1 and turn. I will meet you back up when I have done the next 2 rows. So just to reiterate, single crochet into the first, half double crochet into the second, double crochet into the third, place a treble crochet into the fourth, double crochet into the fifth, half double into the sixth, single crochet into the seventh. You will complete this for a total of 4 more times, or 3 more times in this case, for a total of, where's my other one? It will be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 rows going up. So you will continue doing this another 3 times. And I will meet you back up when we have done that, and I'll show you how to sew that all together. Alrighty, now that we have completed all 4 pieces of your white, you started off, just to reiterate, okay, you started off with a chain of, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Oh my gosh. It helps when I have it together, right? No polyfill is required. You're going to make 4. You're going to start off with a chain of 4. No, I'm sorry. A chain of 8. Now, this is the bottom where I started. Then I did my row, and this is going to be the top part. You're going to end up here. So you're going to take the one where you have over here, this is your 4, and you're going to take your eye, or your pupil, and you're going to place it smack dab right in the middle of that baby, and you're going to poke it through as well, so that it goes through on the white. And then what you are going to do with your black is I just pick up a small little piece from the previous, like a small stitch, and I'll go through the stitch to sew on the pupil to fasten it securely. I'll show you again. I just go under maybe one of the chains from one of the white pieces, and then I go through both chains on the pupil. Let me just make this a little bit shorter. We'll do that again. Just find it anywhere you can. It doesn't matter if it actually shows through on the other side, because nobody is going to see it anyways. So don't worry about your stitching too much. You're just going to securely fasten this on, placing a stitch in each one until you've come all the way around and the pupil is now attached to your white piece. It really doesn't matter how perfect your stitches are or what they look like, as long as you get that securely put on. That is the most important part. Because like I said, nobody is going to be seeing the back of this particular piece, because it will be sewn on to the other white piece. Da-da-da-dum. And that way you don't have to worry about tails and all kinds of stuff. So to make sure that you've gone all the way around and you didn't skip anything, kind of rub your finger along it. I see that there's a couple more stitches that I need to do just to fasten it on securely. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I need to shorten this again and go through another one. All right, so now that eye is securely fastened on to my white piece, there's no holes or gaps. I'm just going to go through it onto the other side, the flip side, and pull it tight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of, go through the back of it a little bit, go through there to create that loop, fasten it on there. And voila, I am going to take that out. I'm going to cut that off. Now, if you want, you can, you know, that's my kind of marker to tell me that's my bottom part. So that's why I'm leaving it showing there until I grab my other white piece. You are going to match them up. Now you can take this over here and you can shove it in underneath. Like I said, you don't need to worry about fastening those in. Once you sew them together, they will be nice and secure. The same thing on the bottom here. You will tuck in all of these extra pieces into the eye. I'm just shoving everything in there, guys. Sticking it all in there. Alrighty. And then what you're going to do is you're going to thread your needle again with the white, the long piece that you left. Once again, my trusty little thing. Now, Mama G sent me a couple of these. I should have brought those out to show you because they're like really, really cute. They're cool. They're small. I've just been using this one for so long that, you know, I get used to it. So, once you've tucked in all your ends, what you're going to do is you're going to see where this is coming out of. That is the top of your eye. Make sure everything is hidden inside. And now what you are going to do is you are just going to sew up your eye. So you're going to go in through that. And you're just going to try to match up again, guys. All the way around, going from the back to the front, trying to grab 2 stitches on both sides so that you're coming through the back and the front. And you're just going to, once again, do that and sew those 2 pieces together. I will let you continue to do that. Just keep going through, trying to match up. They should, as best you can. And I will meet you back to where we started, because you will not fasten off this yarn because you will be using it to sew it onto your hat. So just keep going around until you have gone through all of the eye and you've come back to this part. Make sure that anything that should not be out there has been tucked in so that you have your eye. I will meet you when I get back over here to where I started attaching those 2 white pieces now together, that the black pupil is in place. Okay, so I have now come to my very last stitch. I have gone through it twice. I'm going to go through the next one just one time, just to make sure it is secure. And voila, you now have both your eyes. Where you have finished stitching is going to be the top part of your eye. So you're going to know that where you have come out of on your last stitch to connect both will be the top part of your eye when placing it on your hat. And voila, you now have 2 eyeballs for this moose hat. You can go ahead now and remove that tail, and you can set your eyeballs and, well, your eyes and eyeballs aside for now. And now we are going to work on the snout. This is actually a lot easier than you think it is going to be. Trust me, I am telling you. The idea here is, if I don't know if you can see it, what I have done in the last few stitches is created a bit of hump here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to flatten that down, but this part here is going to be humped a little bit, so it looks like that humped part over the snout. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to crochet this piece last, and that will be the final piece I have already put the nose part, or the nose pieces, I should say. This one looks like it's coming out. Why is that coming out? I don't know. Did I not put that on tight enough? I'll have to go in and fix that. Whoops. Wait, where'd the top part go? I'll fix that after, but for now, this is what we are going to use right now. You do not need to use nose pieces, guys. You can, if you want, make two little, you can embroider it in, or you can crochet two small pieces where you would do like a chain of 3 and then just, you know, kind of round it, or to make your nose. This is how I have made mine. So let's go ahead, and I don't know what happened to that piece. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. See, it came off. I don't know why. Why did that come off? Where am I here? I shall play with that in a moment. This is my center point. This is where I want you. This part had to go here. So I put you over here. There. You go there. I'm just reattaching that piece because for some reason it fell off. I don't know why. Maybe I need to use a smaller one for the backing. But for now, there we go. Just so that it's in there. All right. So let's start on the snout, everybody. Are we ready to do the snout? This will be the last part of the parts that you will be using to make this hat. So we've gone over the hat, we've gone over the antlers, we've gone over the little brown tucky ears, we have gone over the eyes, and now we are going to do the snout. All right. And as you can see, everything is written down. Those are my eyes, my antlers. We did the antlers first, and the little ears, and the hat. There we go. I'm going nuts. Right? All right. Let's make the snout. I'm going to get rid of this hat of paper because it's actually in my way. It's in my way. Throw it over there. Now we're going to make a snout, guys. And I'm using, to make my snout, the Caron cake. It's a Caron cake, latte cake, in the color Coconut Cream. I decided to do it in this one because I thought it would be funnier and cuter and snoutier looking. And it just so happens that the colors work up well. This is the colorway Coconut Cream. They classify this as a 5 weight, and they recommend using a 6.5 millimeter hook. I will not be using that. I will be using a 4.5. Is that showing? Oh my gosh. Do we see the size of the yarn hook I'm using here? All right, so 4.5. So let's get started on making the snout. Once again, you will need a stitch marker because you need to mark your first stitch. I apologize if there is noise in the background. You might be hearing my neighbors. I can't control that, I'm sorry. But let's continue on with making the snout. So I am using a 4.5. My band has come off. Maybe I should put that back on because it keeps it a little bit more under control. No, not really. I really do need to get one of those butlers so that, you know, things are not collapsing. Let's get rid of that. We'll just pull out a bunch. I like to do that. I unwind a bit so I'm not sitting there fighting with my yarn. All right. Let's get to the front of this and let's make the antler, not the antler, the snout. So using a 4.5 crochet hook and the Karen Latte Cake in the colorway coconut cream. Oh my gosh. All right, you're gonna start again with a magic circle. This is how I do mine. I know maybe you don't do it the same way, but I find that this is the easiest way to do my magic circles. And trust me guys, when I tell you, these do not come out, because as you're crocheting into the circle, you're also going over the piece that you're pulling on. And then you can also bring it up into the pattern and crochet that into your rows for extra securing purposes. All right. You're going to place, the magic number seems to be 8. So we are going to crochet 8 single crochets into this. You will mark your first one. Trust me, if you're using this, you're going to want to mark your stitch. All right, so that's 1. That'll be 2. That'll be 3. This will be 4, 5, 6, 7, oops, try that again, and 8. And as you can see, I was going over, I don't like that, that's too loose, and 8. I'm getting a little tired, guys, sorry. We are going to pull that ever so gently, but not completely shut just yet. You are going to go into your very first stitch, right there where it's been marked. Why am I putting a double in there? Oh my Lord. And you are going to place automatically 2 single crochets. That's 1 and 2. Remove your stitch marker. Place it into the first one. Remember, you put 2 in that one. And now what you are going to do is you are going to place 2 single crochets into each of the remaining 7. At the end of this, you will have a total of 16 single crochets. So that's 2 in there. This is 3. That's 6. 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and then 11 and 12 and then 13 and 14 and then in the last one again 2 single crochets. You now have a total of 16 single crochets. Go ahead and pull on your little tail to tighten up, but don't pull it too hard because you don't want to break your yarn. You're going to repeat that one more time, placing 2 single crochets into each chain around. At the end of this round, you will have a total of 32 chains or stitches that you have created. So go ahead, start into your first one, place your 2, take out your stitch marker, mark your very first one. Now remember, you did 2 in there, so you place it into the very first one right there. And now you're going to do the exact same thing all over again. You're going to place 2 single crochets into each of the next chains around. At the end of this, you will have 32. We have just created 2. This is 3 and 4. The next one, 5 and 6, etc., etc., until you come back to your stitch marker, and you will have a total of 32. I will meet you back there. Okay, so now we are back. We have done 32 total all the way around. So what we did was we started off with 8, then we did 2 single crochets into each of those 8 stitches, which gave us 16, and then we did 2 into each of those 16 stitches, which gave us a total of 32. I am now back to where my marker is, and now what we are going to do is very simply just place 1 single crochet in each stitch around, totaling 32. Make sure you always have 32 stitches. You are going to repeat that another 13 times. So with the 3 rows that we have done here, your 8, your 16, your 32, plus the additional 13 rows, you will have a total of 16 single crochet rows. 3 of those will have been your increased rows. You will now no longer increase. You are just going to keep going around and around and around 13 more times, placing 1 single crochet into each one of those stitches, always making sure again you have 32 stitches. Once you have done your 13 rows, I will meet back up with you here, and we'll see you shortly. Just fair warning, everybody, to let you know, as you are going around doing those 13 more rows, I've just done 1, you will notice that it's going to start to curl up. Don't worry about it. That is normal. It'll almost look like you're making a hat, but you're not. Trust me, you're not. So I just wanted you to know that it will automatically kind of curl on you, but just keep going and make sure that you do 13 rows. I have 12 more to go. I'll meet you back up when I've done the 12 rows. Okay. All right, I have done my 13 rows. I am coming up to my last few stitches. So 1 single crochet in the last few. That's 30, 31, and 32. I am now back at my stitch marker. I have done 13, sorry, total of 16 rounds of single crochets, 3 of which were increased rounds. Then it was just single crochet around the 32 stitches 13 more times. And this is what it's going to actually look like right now. It actually looks like a tiny little hat for maybe a doll, but it's not what it's going to look like when we're finished. Now what we are going to do, and what I did was basically I just did 13 lines, and as I went through each one, just to keep count, to make sure I did 13, I just checked off each time I did a round. So that is one way to do it. Or if you have one of those, and I do, but it's in the other room, unfortunately, one of those counters, row counters, use a row counter. Whatever method works best for you. make sure that you have done your 13 rows of single crochet all the way around. Now would be the time, if you were using the nose parts, let me just pull that out. If you are going to use these nose pieces, this is when you would actually place them inside the center here before you start cinching it up and creating your hump. I'm going to call it the hump. All right. So what I've done was I have taken 2 of the nose pieces and I have placed them in, and I am making sure that they're nice and secure. And what I did was I just placed them strategically on both sides from where we started in the center. All right. So now, because this piece is actually later, but we're just going to go from here. What you are going to do once you have finished those 14 rows and you've placed your nostrils, we're going to call them nostrils, and basically what you're going to do is, because there's your center stitch right here where you started, I would go like 1 or 2 over onto this side, or 1 and 2 over onto the other side to attach it. I won't worry again about the backings of these because this part will be filled with polyfill or the other stuff that I have, which was all I could find. All right, so now let's complete this. I'm going to remove this stitch marker, and I am going to pick up my work again. Bye-bye, without dropping things. Thank you kindly. Now what I'm going to do, and this is the way I do it, like, you know, there's no right way, no wrong way. The idea is I want to make a hump, that little part that comes up over where you see on the nose. So what I am going to do is, over the next 4 single crochets, I'm going to turn that into 1. So what I do when I am doing it is I go into my first one. So there's 1 right there, and I pull up a loop. I go into the second, pull up a loop. I yarn over and I go through 1. I will now have 3 on my hook. I will now go into the next one. I will now have 4. So what you have done is you've actually taken 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're gonna yarn over and go through all 4 of those. And you're going to replace your stitch marker in that specific chain. And then you're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the remaining, there should be 28. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, and 15, and 16, and 17, and 18, and 19, and 20, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now you are back to where you single crocheted 4 together again. This is why your stitch marker is very important. You're going to remove your stitch marker again, and you're going to repeat that one more time. You're going to do 4 together. So I will place it into that very first one, draw up a loop. I will not yarn over here. I will go into the next one, yarn over, go through 1, so now I have 3. Then I will go into the next one again, yarn over, go through 1. I will have 4 chains on my loop. You're going to yarn over and go through all 4. You're going to mark that stitch now. And then you are going to single crochet into the remaining stitches around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you should have 24. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alvin. And 12, and 13, and 14, and 15, and 16, 17, try to get in both, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now you're going to go back into that one there. And as you can see, what we have done is we have created a bit of a hump, right? So now what we're going to do is you're going to remove that stitch marker, and now what you're going to do is you are going to single crochet 2 together all the way around, which will leave you with a total of 12 stitches around. To do that, you will go into your first one, draw up a loop, go into the second one, draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through. Nope, sorry, you're not yarning over. I apologize. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking of something totally different here. I apologize, guys. All right. You're going to go in, drop a loop, go into the second one, drop a loop, bring it through, and go through all 3. Let's do that again. Go into 1, bring up a loop, go into your second, bring up a loop, do not yarn over, go through all 3 on your hook. You will now do the same thing again. That's 1 and 2, and go through. You will do that a total of 12 times coming around. 1 and 2, and go through all 2. Continue doing this around until you come back to where your stitch marker was, or where you did the first one. I removed mine. I apologize. I should have put it back in. Silly me. But I know where it was. All right, you go back in here. Let's make sure that I stick you back where I want you to go. That was 4 times I did that. You'll continue to do that all the way around, 12 times total, and you will have a total of 12 stitches still available to you from here. So that's 1, 2, do not yarn over, go through both. Go into the next one, go into the next one, and go through both. You're going to continue doing this until you get to your stitch marker. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2. Get into there, and 1 and 2, and then you have your last 2 stitches here, 1 and 2. This is your last decrease, guys. You go through both. Now what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch into where your marker is. You go in, draw up a loop, pull it through, come through that one, tighten that up, yarn over, and you're going to fasten off, and you are going to leave a tail long enough for you to be able to sew in those 12 stitches. This is more than enough. Trust me, there's about, I don't know, a little bit more than a foot. I'm going to pull that through, out. I'm going to remove my stitch, no, I'm not going to remove my stitch marker. So now as you can see, there is a bit of a hump here. So what you're going to do, I'm going to show you on the darker piece, because it's going to be easier for you to see. Where's the piece that I used? Oh, whoops. Helps when you don't drop it helps when you don't drop your fiber fill. So the idea now, guys, is now that I'm going to be working on this piece here, here is where my stitch marker is. This is where the hump is. What I am going to do is I'm going to put this in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to distribute it. That one does not want to stay in there. I'm going to need to use a different, yeah, all right. Well, you know what? I'll figure you out later, because you're going to tick me off. All right. We're just going to, on either side of the hump, you're going to just stick in a bunch of yarn, not yarn, polyfill, on both sides. And yes, you can add that nose piece at the end too. It's, you know, just a little bit trickier. And I'll do that, I'll fix that after. And what you're going to do is you're just going to continue to move your fill over to the sides. And then what you're going to do is you're going to squish this down. And once you squish this down, you'll see, here's your 12 stitches here. Here's your stitch marker. Here is your opening. It's going to get squished like this. And in doing so, you have created that hump here. Now, if you really, really, really wanted to, you could sew those 2 pieces together so that you know, or what I do, so that I know that this is my center, is I will just go through on the opposite side. And that way you can see, once that is squished down, what happened to my lighting? You will have that done. And that concludes the snout part. Next part we will do will be assembling the entire hat together. So we have finished with this. Here is your hat. Here is your snout, which will go here. It's not going to look like much right now, guys, because one of these nose parts came out. Your snout will go here. Your eyes will go on either side of the snout. Your antlers will go on either side here and here. And then these parts will go here and there. We will conclude putting this together next week. This is it for today. If you have any questions whatsoever or something was not clear, please don't hesitate to contact me. Don't forget, you're going to have a few extra little strips of these because we're going to put some little tufts on the top of the hat for some little hairs in between. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will meet back up with you next Wednesday when we will complete the rest of this hat by putting it together. Please email me. My email address will be in the description box if you have any questions. And also, once again, any of you who might be making this hat, I would really love it if you sent me pictures. That would be really, really awesome. So until then, everybody, I am saying to stay blessed, be a blessing to anybody that you can, do all things with kindness, have fun being creative, and we'll catch you next week. Have a good day out. Bye, everybody.